Welcome back to the Bad Influence podcast where we show you how to improve your life. I am the bad influence that you need in your life, Bjordan Banderas. How many times have you snapped at someone because they trigger something deep inside you? How often have you let someone's words or actions push you over the edge, only to regret your reaction later? We've all been there. Probably each and every one of us has done this at one point in their life, or they're about to do it pretty soon because of all the stress that we're going through. Someone says or does something that hits the wrong nerve, and boom, you're reacting emotionally, sometimes without even thinking about the fucking consequences. I used to do this a lot before I started working on myself, so I get it. It's hard to control yourself, right? But what if I told you that by reacting emotionally, you're handing over control of your life? I bet you don't like that, right? This is something I learned while working on myself. The issue is that you're allowing others to dictate your actions. And the truth is, those reactions don't just impact your relationships or your mood. They can derail your entire life. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the one thing you can control: your reactions. I know it's hard, but it can be done. I'm going to help you understand why you react the way you do, how to regain control of those emotions, and how to use that control to build a better life. By the end of this episode, my goal for you is to walk away with a clear understanding of how to stop letting others control your emotional triggers. You'll have the tools to start managing your reactions in a way that works for you and doesn't give someone else the power to dictate your actions. Are you ready to take back control? Let's dive in. Here's the thing. Emotional reactions are fucking powerful. They're intense. They're real, and when they take over, it feels like you've got no choice but to go with them. Whether it's anger, frustration, jealousy, or even fear, these emotions can make you feel like you're trapped in a whirlwind. I've been there, so I know how that feels. And when you're in that whirlwind, you're not thinking logically, you're just reacting. Now, think about the last time you had a heated argument. Maybe it was at work or with a friend or a family member. It happens all the time. Well, in your case, what happened? Chances are your emotions took the wheel, and once that happened, you lost control. You said things you didn't mean, you felt regret, or worse, you might have damaged that relationship. That's what happens when someone else can trigger you. Your reaction gets hijacked, and instead of responding thoughtfully, you're acting on pure emotion. Just an emotional reaction. And let's be real. If you let that happen every single time someone says something, someone does something, it becomes exhausting. It drains you. It literally beats you to the ground. When someone else has control over your reactions, they can control your actions. And there are people out there, they're assholes, that pretty much like to push your buttons. They can make you act out of character, feel guilty, or undermine your confidence. So the real question is, are you willing to keep giving them that power? Or are you ready to take back control and stop letting others dictate how you respond to the world? Those are good questions, huh? Well, let me tell you about a time when I had to make a choice. I had to make a very important choice in this situation. I used to work at a company where a coworker, let's call her Caroline. This particular person was constantly trying to undermine me. She complained about me to my boss, spread rumors, and even went as far as trying to sabotage my work. Now, I'm not going to lie, it fucking pissed me off. I was ready to snap, to tell her off, to put her in her place. I wanted to go get on her. Literally. I wanted to go so ghetto. I'm like, you're gonna regret. I'm like, my tongue is sharp as steel, is sharper than a fucking samurai sword. I'm gonna cut you down. But then I realized something. If I let her get to me, she will win. If I explode in anger, she has control over my emotions. More importantly, she has control over my actions. Now, this happened a few months after my wife lost her job because of her illnesses. So we only had one income, my income. So I was under a lot of stress. And because of all of this, and then dealing with this particular person, with Caroline, I had to make a decision. Do I let her control how I react, or do I take control of my emotions and handle the situation logically? That was hard, and that was a turning point for me. I decided that I wouldn't let her or anyone else dictate how I feel or how I respond. Instead of snapping, I focus on being the best version of myself at work. At this particular job, the better we did with our numbers, with our work in the situation, we will get a higher bonus. And I needed that bonus because it was $1,500 extra per month on top of my check. So that was actually helping us after we lost my wife's income. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let my success speak for itself. And you know what happened? She eventually got caught doing things she shouldn't have been doing and was fired. I didn't have to lift a finger. My success, my focus on controlling my own actions became my best revenge. This is why I want you to understand. When you take control of your reactions, you take control of your fucking life. You don't need to react to everyone who tries to trigger you. Sometimes the best response is no reaction at all. Now, here's the hard part. To truly take control of your reactions, you need to understand your triggers. We all have them. The problem is that we don't like to face them because they're a trigger. We feel that if we try to face them or even understand them, we're gonna get triggered. But that's not the case. Because here's one thing about triggers. For some people, it's a certain tone of voice. There are certain tones of voices that actually trigger me, which is interesting, and the same thing happens to a lot of other people. For others, it might be when someone questions their abilities or makes them feel small. That happens too. That can be a trigger. These triggers are deeply rooted, and often they come from childhood or past experiences. For me, my triggers were rooted in how I was treated growing up. My family made me feel less than, like I didn't measure up at all. So when someone at work or in my personal life made me feel like I wasn't good enough, I would snap. Oh, like I said, my tongue is sharp as steel. That's one of the things that I learned from my mom. Like, destroy with your tongue. You may not be strong against your enemy, but words cut deep. But here's what I learned through therapy and self-reflection. My reactions were based on old wounds that had nothing to do with the present moment. And that's the key. When you recognize that your reactions are tied to something from your past, you can start to separate those old emotions from the present situation. You can start to ask yourself, is this person really trying to hurt me, or am I just reacting based on an old wound? Which, most likely is the latter. Once you recognize your triggers, you have the power to choose how you respond instead of reacting emotionally. One of the most powerful tools you can develop is self-awareness. Oh, yes. This is something that I honestly believe should be taught in preschool. That's just my opinion. Because when you're self aware, you can catch yourself before you react. You can recognize when you're being triggered and take a step back to think about how you want to respond. Self awareness gives you the space to pause and reflect before you act, which is extremely important, especially if someone is trying to trigger you. It allows you to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Is this reaction really necessary, or is there a better way to handle this? Those are good questions. When you're self aware, you can actually ask those questions before you react. I've done this so many times that it's pretty much now like second nature for me. Now, that pause, when you take that pause, that moment of reflection, it can change everything. I'm not saying it's easy, because nothing in life is, right? It takes practice. But over time, as you become more and more and more aware of your triggers and how you respond to them, you'll start to notice a shift. You'll feel more in control, less reactive, and more at peace with yourself. Because here's the truth. When you're in control of your emotions, you're in control of your life. You're not at the mercy of other people's actions or words. You have the power to choose how you respond to every single situation. And that power can completely transform your life. So, how do you start controlling your reactions? Here are a few practical tools that can help you get started. First, I know this is going to sound simple. People don't like it. Some people don't like it. But whatever. This is what helped me. And it can help you too. All you have to do is try. First, meditation. I know, right? I'm not talking about sitting in silence for hours. Even a few minutes of meditation each day can help you clear the noise in your mind and create a sense of calm. When your mind is calm, you're less likely to react emotionally in stressful situations. Now, this has helped me in so many ways because obviously, like I have mentioned way too many times apparently, some people complain about it, my wife is sick. I have to take her to doctors, deal with insurance, deal with the healthcare system. And that just by itself is fucking stressful enough. So I have to be calm when talking to doctors, even though they're being assholes. I have to be calm dealing with health insurances because they fucking suck. I have to be calm dealing with the with the pharmacies when they make a mistake on my wife's prescriptions. I have to be calm all the time so I can help my wife to get better. Now, the second tool is journaling. Take time to write about your day, your triggers, and your reactions. This will help you identify patterns in your behavior and give you a chance to reflect on how you can handle situations better in the future. I do this, and when I write it, it helps because here's what happens. Sometimes just writing it down helps you process those emotions and see things more clearly. It can even help you see things from a different perspective, from an outsider perspective, because at this point when you're writing it down, you're in a different situation. Probably you're at home, more calm, so you're gonna see the situation that trigger you from a completely different perspective, and it is the best thing that you can do. Because like I just mentioned, it helps you process everything that happened throughout your day. The third tool, practice mindfulness. I know these are things that a lot of people don't like to do, but believe me, it helps, especially if you want to take control of your life. So, start paying attention to your thoughts and feelings in the moment. When you feel yourself getting triggered, take a deep breath and pause. Ask yourself, is this worth reacting to? How do I want to handle this? That moment of mindfulness can be the difference between an emotional outburst and a calm, thoughtful response, which is something that we need more and more every day because of everything that's happening outside our homes. Lastly, surround yourself with positive influences. I always say this, and this is because toxic people will trigger you again and again and again if you let them. It's okay to set boundaries and distance yourself from those who constantly bring negativity into your life. You don't need that shit. Protect your energy by choosing who you spend time with wisely. At the end of the day, you have a choice. You can keep letting other people control your reactions, or you can take back control. It's not easy, and it won't happen overnight. But with time and practice, you can start responding to life with intention rather than reacting out of emotion. So, here's what I want you to do. Start small. Always start small. Don't go too big because you're going to hit a wall and it's going to hurt. So start small. The next time someone tries to trigger you, take a deep breath, pause, and choose how you want to respond. Don't let the other person choose for you, okay? Build self-awareness and recognize your fucking triggers. You have to figure out what triggers you. If it's a tone of voice, the way somebody speaks, certain words sometimes, certain situations, you have to become aware of that. And remember, you're in control of your life, not anyone else. You have the power to control your reactions. Do not, and I repeat, do not allow anyone, absolutely anyone, control those reactions for you. Because once you give them that power, once you give people that power over you, they might never let it go. They might use that to their advantage. They might use that against you. And then they're going to keep you down. They're going to try to put you in a box by using your own emotional reactions. And here's what I want you to understand. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve to give your power to someone else for them to use it however they want. You have to take back that power. You have to take back that control over your emotional reactions and use that to push you forward, to move your life forward, to move the needle forward, to literally change your life, just like it has helped me. Because in the end, it is your life, it's your emotions, and it's up to you to control them. So start working on this. Because if or when things get worse for you, it could be an economic situation, job situation, health situation, anything like that, you're going to be triggered. And you're going to be triggered so bad that it can actually break you so bad that you might have to be hospitalized. I've seen it. I've seen that happening, and I don't want that to happen to you because I know how that feels. I know how that feels, and it's not good. So start working on this today. Just start small, okay? Don't allow anyone to take over that power. Because, again, in the end, it's your life. And that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to the Bad Influence podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep pushing forward and take control of your reactions to take control of your life, and have a great day.